Today we are going to install the new Turn Offroad Ford Bronco FD2 M1 Fender flares. These fenders fit the 2021 and newer Ford Bronco 2 and 4 door models. Installation time is around 60 minutes. Can be installed by yourself, but easier with a friend. With a difficulty level of beginner. You will need this list of tools to get the job done properly. So, gather all these tools, and let's start this installation. Begin by removing the factory front and rear fenders. Do this by turning the 5 front mounting levers counterclockwise or inward to release the fender. Then, remove the fender. Do the same with the rear fender. Turn the 5 rear mounting levers counterclockwise to release the fender. Then, remove the fender and set them aside. As shown here, the levers have been turned inward toward the center of the wheel well, which unlocks the fender from the body. Next, starting with the rear, remove the 7 inner fender liner clips within the wheel well using a Phillips head screwdriver. You may need a body clip removing tool to fully remove them and set them aside. Make sure the inner fender liner's outer edge is free and clear from the body, as you will need access to this area behind the liner. Then, using a 10mm socket, remove the 3 bolts shown here and set them aside. Now, moving to the front, do the same with the 7 fender liner body clips, remove them and set them aside. The only difference with the front is there are no bolts to remove. Next, let's assemble the 4 side marker light connectors. Start by joining together the female plug's positive and negative ends to the supplied wire loom using butt splice connectors. Cut, strip, crimp, and tape up, as shown here. Then, strip the insulation off of the positive and negative ends. Crimp a ring connector on the negative wire for mounting to the body. Then, crimp on a male spade connector to the positive wire, which will connect to the factory wire harness. Repeat this step to the other 3 side marker female plugs. Then, after you tape up each of the ends, your female plugs should look like the one shown here. Next, grab the side marker light and insert it into the outer edge of the fender. Do this by running the wire end through the fender hole first. Pull the wire through until the side marker is mounted in the hole. Then, slide the backing nut onto the wire and thread it onto the back of the side marker, finger tight. Tighten the nut using a 14mm wrench. Now run the wire through the small hole, it's right behind the marker on the backside of the fender, and pull all the way through. Next, strip and crimp on butt splice connectors, as shown here. Then, crimp on the male end of the wire plug, tape them up and repeat these steps to the other 3 side marker plug connections. before moving on to the next step. Please review the Turn Off-Road video, front grille and headlight removal and reassembly, as part of our product installation series on YouTube or on our website. Next, with the headlight removed, you can see the factory headlight plug here. Now, locate the blue wire with a green stripe, for driver's side, and solid blue for the passenger side, and separate it from the rest of the wires. Then, install the supplied quick splice connector and crimp it tight. Then, grab a female side marker plug, that we assembled earlier, and insert the positive spade connector, into the splice connector, and make sure the connection is tight. Now, take the negative ring connector, and mount it under this 10mm bolt to ground the connection. Once complete, tuck the wire into the wheel well for later access. Next, moving to the rear, remove the tail light body panel cover, by removing the two 10mm bolts, and the 4 body clips. Once removed, locate and disconnect the tail light plug, and pull it out. Now, pull back the wire wrapping, locate and separate the gray wire with an orange stripe, for the driver's side, and a solid gray wire for the passenger's side. Then, install the supplied quick splice connector and crimp it tight. Then, grab a female side marker plug, that we assembled earlier, and run the plug end down and through this opening shown here, and pull the wire halfway through. Next, insert the positive spade connector into the splice connector, and make sure the connection is tight. Then, plug the tail light back in, and tuck the harness back behind the tail light where it was. Now, take the negative ring connector and mount it under this tail light body cover bolt shown here. Slide the bolt through the cover and the ring connector on the back side. Then while holding in place, snap the cover back into position. Once complete, reinstall the hardware for the tail light body panel cover. Next, back to the front fender. Begin fender installation by grabbing the marker light plug and running it through this body fender hole here. Then, while pulling the wire through, move the fender up and into position. With the fender in position, insert a couple supplied 4mm bolts and backing nuts, finger tight, to hold the fender in place. Install the rest of the 4mm fender hardware, align the fender on the body, and tighten them down. Space gets a little tight towards the bottom of the fender, so if you are using power tools, you may have to switch to smaller hand tools, to finish the job. Next, plug the side marker wiring together, and if needed coil up the excess wiring and zip tie it, and tuck it up into the fender well, so it's nice, clean, and out of the way. Now, with everything tucked back into place, as it was, reinstall the inner fender liner clips and make sure all is snug and finished up. Moving to the rear fender, repeat these steps, as the mounting process is basically the same. Plug the side marker light in, coil up, and zip tie the excess wire. Then, tuck the wire up into the wheel well behind the fender liner, and install the liner back into place. Reinstall the fender liner clips, and watch the light show. If you haven't done so already, repeat the process on the other side of the vehicle. Lastly, refer to the grille/headlight video to reinstall the front end, and you are done. Congratulations, that completes your Turn Off-Road Fender flare installation. These fender flares were designed to provide more protection than the OEM plastic fenders, and have a narrow profile to help squeeze through those tight trails. The fenders are precision formed for excellent fitment, with a 3-stage protective micro-textured powder coat to protect the steel structure beneath. The marker lights can be wired to act as a running light and turn signal, or both. Until your next turn product install, be safe out there. If you have any questions during your product installation, don't hesitate to contact us via phone or email. We are here to help.